Hamza, I want to come back to you on something because we brought up earlier. You said you want to speak about KDB. I believe him to be the second best midfielder in Premier League history. Talk to me about him.
No chance. There's no way. Like, literally. Listen, I think this guy, as soon as I saw him at City, you can tell this guy was just elite. He's just born like that. He's an elite footballer. And I think if he's this, I rate him as highly. I've always said he's the greatest Manchester City player of all time. He will become the greatest Manchester City player of all time. The only guy that might surpass him, and this is hard, I thought about it last night. I thought the way Rodri's playing. If Rodri continues playing like this, my God, we're producing too many.
To clarify what you're saying, so you think KDB is the greatest Premier League midfielder of all time?
By far. Who tell me the name. Who's the greatest?
Scholes.
That's okay, I'm not disrespecting Scholes. Yeah? No disrespecting Scholes, but that's a joke completely. Because I never, and I'll tell you why. Greatest players, they love moments. You can't tell Zidane when to score. He loves scoring in big games. He will score in big games. World Cup final, win you. He will score in the Champions League final, win you. He will score in the big games. I have never seen Scholes. This guy first, yeah? He didn't play even a single minute in the Champions League final in the 90s.
Okay, I'm stopping you for a minute. I have to stop you. Because to say he's never done it in big games, he scored in the FA Cup final in the treble-winning season. So you've done yourself there. He also scored in a semi-final against a Barcelona team to put us into the final, as an example. Paul Scholes has scored many great goals. Paul Scholes has won huge games before in title races. I remember him getting a winner away at the Etihad against you in a title race campaign. So I'm not against you believing KDB is better. But you sitting there and disrespecting Paul Scholes, saying it's a joke and he's clear of him, and then lying that Scholes hasn't done anything in big games or finals, I can't let you. I'm not letting you continue disrespecting Paul Scholes in that way, because you're not even you're not telling the truth about him, Hamza. You're lying about him.
But let me say why I think KDB has gone to the Bernabeu. Guys, sit down on the floor. Bernabeu, Madrid. The people tell, oh, this is the greatest Real Madrid. It's so dangerous to go to the Bernabeu. You can't win at the Bernabeu. He destroys Modric and Kroos. How many times have we seen him outplaying Modric and Kroos? Dunking on Real Madrid. How many times we've seen him?
Can I ask you a question? Hamza, can I ask you a question? Hamza, let me ask you a question. Okay, KDB's amazing, and there's nothing I'm going to say about KDB to play him down. I'm not going to slag him off. Hang on a minute. I'm not going to slag him off. I'm not going to criticize him. I'm doing nothing to play him down. How good were Juventus in the 90s, in your opinion? You watched football in that era. You told us. How good were Juve in that era?
99. They finished 7th or 8th. I remember.
Are you telling me in the 90s Juventus were not a good football team?
They were good in the early, but 98, 99, when you won the treble, they were poor that year. They finished 7th or 6th. I remember. They struggled because they had Pesotto. Ferrara was old. They had the keeper who was getting replaced by Pagliuca. I remember. They were so bad. They finished 7th, I believe.
Okay. We're buying Munich. We're buying Munich good.
But where did they finish?
Can you please answer my questions? We're buying Munich good in the late 90s, in 99.
In 99, Bayern Munich were good, yeah. Effenberg and Jeremies and all that. They were good team.
Okay. Were Inter Milan good in 99?
No, not at all. No. They had Hector Cooper. They had sacked their manager, Roy Hodgson. They got this manager from Romania, and he was appalling. He was one of the worst managers.
So the reason I'm bringing this stuff up is because for me, and maybe I know they didn't have the greatest of seasons in their domestic league that year, but I remember those Paul Scholes performances, especially away from home in Turin, when actually we conceded very early goals, and how he dominated that midfield, especially after receiving a booking. And that performance from him and Roy Keane collectively was amazing. The reason that I'm bringing this up is that we all know that Italian football in the 90s and the early noughties was absolutely sensational. Okay. And yes, you may have had teams that finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, but you're talking about the Fiorentinas and the Parmas and the Lazios in that day and age were also amazing teams. It's not like it is now. So we have to remember the context. Please let me finish my point. The reason why I struggle with your opinion, it isn't because you think KDB is better than Paul Scholes. It's that you are shitting on KDB, on Paul Scholes' legacy. And for me, Hamza, that ruins your argument. Instead of just saying why KDB is better, you're lying about great things that Paul Scholes has done. So for me, if you're gonna turn around and slag off a legend's legacy, play down how good the quality of other leagues were during a time when he was bossing it, for me, I can't help but look at that situation and say, you don't truly believe KDB's better. Do you know why? Because you wouldn't have to shit on Scholes if KDB was better. Have you seen me say, I think Scholes is better? But have you seen me shit on KDB once to prove the point of Scholes?
No, I seen Scholes. Even, let me give you an example. I watched 98 World Cup, and I think he scored against Tunisia. That was his thing. And that 98 World Cup, he's a good player. But he doesn't have that clutch moment. Like, KDB loves big games. He doesn't disappear in big games. He takes it when we're losing. I'll give you an example. You're losing to Aston Villa 2-0. Yeah? Everyone's nervous. I even changed the channel, Terry. I'll be honest with you. I changed the channel like that, and I went to watch Liverpool Wolves because I just thought, oh my God, I'm finished. I'm praying for Wolves comeback. Wolves to beat them. Guess what? KDB is smiling and he's tying his shoes. He doesn't panic. He's tying his shoes. And I thought, nah, I'm not watching a guy tying his shoes. I was mistaken. Biggest mistake of my life. In my life. Because I turned back. I'm seeing this guy whipping across Uganda one. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I've seen this guy go at the burn about Modric. Ask Modric and Cruz.
Hamza, I need to stop you again. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said about KDB. I'm asking why you're lying about Paul Scholes' legacy. You're not answering that question.
Paul Scholes wasn't a guy.
No, that isn't the question. Why are you lying about things that he's done?
No,
answer that question.
I'm saying that I know he scores a great player, but he wasn't sitting.
But you're not answering the question. Why did you lie about things that he's done?
No, but I'm being honest. Okay, let me tell you the truth. When he said about Inter Milan, I was right about saying Inter Milan for poor that year. I was right about saying Juventus were conceding goals. In fact, they had they were bad. And at Bayern Munich, fair enough, you beat. But you know what? Let me be honest. Don't mute me for this. Yeah, it's true. I'm not cussing Man United. I'm saying you're the great. I said you were the greatest trouble. You drew to them twice, and it was 2-2 and 1-1. I remember. You scraped a draw on New Company. You went through. Fair enough, you beat Inter. Inter were poor side. Fair enough. And they had sacked their manager. Juve, an amazing. Listen, Giggs was the guy. Giggs was the... If you told me Giggs, I say he's the best winger in England, Premier League history. Look at how I hate United, Terry. I say Giggs is the greatest. Why? Because Giggs was the guy at your team. Giggs was terrorizing. Roy Keane was running that place. Scholes was good, but Roy Keane that season and Giggs were causing chaos and David Beckham. Paul Scholes wasn't the best player in that midfield. Was not the best player in that midfield. It was Roy Keane, David Beckham. I remember David Beckham whipping Barcelona 3-3 because I was wanting to support Barcelona. I wanted Barcelona to win that day. Paul Scholes was a great player, but he doesn't have that. You know, I'll give you an example. I believe he's better than Gerrard, but Gerrard has that clutch moment that's dangerous.
Okay, but listen. First of all, you're allowed to have your opinion on saying Scholes weren't that important. This man went away, right, to the new camp and was sensational in a midfield that had the likes of Rivaldo in it as an example, Figo, and he delivered in these games, right? And again, you're right, Gerrard does have clutch moments, but you are lying if you're saying Paul Scholes didn't. You're just lying. And that's my point to you. There's nothing you're saying about Scholes or KDB I disagree with, but saying Scholes didn't do that and dismissing him is so disingenuous, as I say. And when it comes to that Champions League run you're mentioning, we weren't the favourites to beat Juve, and people predicted us to go out at that time. We weren't predicted to even get through our group stage because that Bayern Munich and that Barcelona team of that era were so phenomenally good. We weren't predicted to go through. And yes, there were some draws in that, but drawing with some of the greatest teams of all time is not an embarrassment.
That Barcelona team was bad.
On that, look, I appreciate that. We'll leave that to the rest of the viewers. We'll go to some super chats here. I need to throw up is what Lin says here. Look, as I say, I don't understand the Scholes slander, and even the 99 slander, suddenly the teams he played weren't very good. Hamza, a big game against Arsenal. Where was KDB?
Much fitness. I think he was coming back, and he just come back from surgery, and he needed time.
What about clutchness? This guy came back from retirement to win a league. Yeah, I mean, he just came back and was brilliant for the rest of that season to win a league title. It was great. Scholes longevity too. Scholes has a decade on KDB. I still think KDB can still do the same, but so premature. Yeah, I think the fact he went till he was 38 years old, dominating midfields in England is understated. At Highbury, coming from an Arsenal fan myself, Scholes, how dare you dismiss Scholes? How dare you, Hamza? KDB is class, but coming from Mourinho, respect. And look, and I look at it this way. Again, I see this guy go to Arsenal away and have such beautiful performances in the middle. The amount of people all around the world that have watched Paul Scholes and just gone, I don't understand how he did what it is that he did.
Why did Madrid not come for him? If he's that elite,
you're lying again. You're lying. So Madrid. Hang on. Let me just. Paul Scholes has spoken about this, and a number of presidents of Spanish and Italian clubs in the 90s and noughties have spoke about this. They contacted Paul Scholes and said, "Do you have an agent we can speak to?" And he said, "I don't have an agent, and I'm not leaving Man United." So he didn't tell this story, Paul Scholes. Ex-presidents of those clubs have told these stories. So again, this is the thing. I'm not being, again, I've not slagged off anything to do with City, anything to do with KDB. All you've done is lie about Paul Scholes.
No, I'm not lying. I'm saying he's a great player.
You did lie. If you don't know something and you're saying it to be a fact and it's not, it's a lie.
I think KDB is playing at the best league in the world. Paul Scholes was playing this league. And I've never heard Paul Scholes, Juventus, say we were in, because anyone who's the greatest players were going to Serie A. So if Scholes was that great,
a minute ago you're playing. So a minute ago, the teams that Paul Scholes was bossing and putting in world-class performances against, you're slagging off. Now you're saying all the best players went to Serie A. Also,
but you're saying
Hamza. I'm gonna have to get the quote now, right? Okay, Serie A president on Paul Scholes. I'll find the quote now. I can't believe you're actually making me Inter Milan president. Here on trying to sign Paul Scholes. He goes, we gave Man United a blank check. We talked to him and his reply was, if you want me, this is what Paul Scholes said to the then president of Inter Milan, best team in the world at the time. If you want me, you've got to buy Manchester United. So the point I'm making, Hamza, is you're just wrong with all the things you're saying about Paul Scholes so far. You're not wrong about KDB. But what you said about Paul Scholes, didn't do no clutch moments. You spoke about not scoring in big games and big finals. Then you spoke about no big clubs wanting to buy him. All three of your points about Scholes are wrong.
Terry.
What do you mean no? I'm giving you facts.
You're saying Inter Milan were the best team in the world. I told you they were 8th. And the last one is...
No, they didn't try and get him in 99. This is when they tried to... But a minute ago, you said in Scholes' era,
he's that great.
Teams are in Serie A.
He's that great. Why did England then decided to play him left wing and play Lampard and Gerrard in midfield?
This has also been discussed by the manager. Do you know what the manager said? Did you not see what Ericsson said the other day?
What?
Ericsson said the reason that he did it is because he knew that Gerrard and Lampard didn't have the ability to do it. He goes, I put my best. The manager himself said it. He regrets it, but he said it. I put the player with the best ability out of position because he could handle it the best. All these things have been answered. But what you do, Hamza, is you lie. And this is what I said earlier. I don't care about anybody that thinks KDB is better than Scholes. When I care is when you lie about his legacy. And that's the 4th lie about him you've told.
No.
We're moving on from this point now anyway, because we've done it to death. I only rate Zizou higher than Scholes. Apart from that, Scholes is levels above all the other midfielders from the last 20 years, is what Gunnar George says.